সুপ্রিয় সুধীর, ঈদ মোবারক। আপনাদের সকলকে ঈদের শুভেচ্ছা। এজে টেরেনা আপনাদের চ্যানেল, এই চ্যানেলে আমি আরাফাত জুবায়ের প্রায়শ হাজির হই বিভিন্ন বিষয় নিয়ে। আজ আমরা আলোচনা করব বাংলাদেশের ফুটবল, আন্তর্জাতিক ফুটবল এবং করোনাকালীন সময়ে ফুটবল অবস্থা নিয়ে। এবং আমাদের সাথে রয়েছেন বাংলাদেশ ফুটবল দলের সাবেক কোচ টম সেন্টফিল্ড। উনি একজন বেলজিয়ান, এই জন্য আমার আলোচনা আজকে ইংরেজিতে হবে। আশা করি আপনাদের উপভোগ করবেন। হ্যালো টম, ওয়েলকাম টু এজে
Good
টেরেনা।
afternoon. Good afternoon, Arafat. Eid Mubarak to everyone in Bangladesh.
Yes, thank you very much, Tom. And we are also giving it greetings to you.
Thank
Tom,
you.
how
Thank
are you? Tom, how are you? And actually, your family was positioned in the corona pandemic and overall the Belgian condition.
Yeah, we are doing fine. We are in Belgium at the moment. Yeah, it's a difficult situation for everyone in the world. Not able to travel for sure for a football coach. National team games are cancelled. So I'm already a few months currently in Belgium. Not able to play games, to watch games, only via internet, some of the teams. In Belgium, the situation is we are a small country, 11 million people. We have at the moment about 70,000 infections and around 10,000 people who died from the COVID-19. So it's not really good, and we are in the moment in the second wave. It's getting worse again. We get around 600-700 infections every day. For a small country like Belgium, it's not going well. But we as a family, we are staying safe. We don't take any risks, and everything is going fine. Thank you.
Hope, Tom, you will stay safe and your family will also stay safe. But Tom, the corona pandemic will affect football very much. So what do you think? You work in African football, you are not working with the Gambia, you work in Bangladesh and some developing nations. What do you think? The corona will how much effect on the developing nations for football?
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation because it's something new for everyone. We don't know how long it's gonna take before it's gone. When can we play again? People try to plan to start up leagues. People try to start up national team games, but at the moment it's much too dangerous, and the health and security of the people is more important than football. I think health is priority, and then maybe come football after that. But as long as the situation is all over the world still alarming in the pandemic, we can't really start up football. And it has huge influence not only for the developing countries, but for all the countries in the world. It's naturally like this that the big leagues like Italy, Spain, England, France, they may be trying to play games because they have business deals, television rights, and they try to play without public. But you see the situation also in these countries is getting worse again. And before we can play national team games, I think it takes a while because national team games demands that teams gonna travel all over Asia, all over Europe, all over Africa, and the risk by traveling is very huge to go from one place to the other to spread the COVID-19 virus even worse. So it's a very bad situation for football, for us all over the world. But in the first place, we have to think about all the safety of the people, not only about football. And it has consequences. I hope everyone is disciplined, respect the rules, keep distance, wash their hands, wear masks, so that this pandemic can be kicked out of our world as soon as possible, so that we can live back a normal life and still can think about football again.
Thanks for your analysis. But Tom, what do you think about Bangladesh football? Because you are ex-national coach of Bangladesh. Do you follow Bangladesh football now also?
Yeah, sure. I follow still Bangladesh football. I was there in 2016. At that time, it was a
Yes, yes,
three-month
yes,
contract, and I enjoyed working there with a very nice group of players with a good board, and it was really enjoyable to work. So after I left, I followed first Andrew Ort, and then Jamie Day, the new coaches, how they
yes, yes,
performed.
yes.
Also, Paul Smalley, I'm still in touch with them, and some other people, some players, and some people in the federation. I'm still frequently in touch. So I followed the results. I was very happy that to see them in the group stage of the Asian Cup and the World Cup qualification. Naturally, it's not an easy group. Playing against Qatar, who is the current champion of Asia, against
Yes, yes.
Oman, Afghanistan, India, and then Bangladesh. It's not an easy group. But I try to follow it as much as possible.
You stayed only 3 months. It was too tough to analyze all Bangladesh football. But I will say you were one of the most tragic tragedy in football coaching career. You lost 5-0 against the Maldives in Malay. What do you think about that?
Yeah, when I came, it was only a few weeks before we had to play important games against Bhutan. First of all, I wanted an assistant coach that was Titu.
Yes, yes,
First,
yes.
the first weeks I was there, he was training with me, but then he was not allowed anymore to be my assistant coach. That was a little bit strange. We went to Maldives. We played a very good first half against Maldives. They scored 1-0 just before halftime, as I remember. And then in the second half, it went totally wrong. A few of our players, more experienced players, were clearly underperforming in that game. It was a friendly, so it was not really a big catastrophe. But naturally, losing 5-0 is never a pleasure. It's the biggest defeat I had ever as a coach in my life. So it was a shocking result for sure. If you analyze the first half, where we were really very competitive, we created some chances, and we could have lead in the first half. So losing then 5-0 against Maldives was not really nice. I have to say that just before the Maldives game, we were in camp, but the league was stopped. But about 5-6 of my major players were called up to play with the army
Yes,
competition.
yes.
I was not so happy with that, because that meant that I remember our captain Mamunul Islam was not available. They couldn't train, so we were a little bit handicapped. We had not everyone in camp. For the little time I had as a coach to be there, may not forget, I signed a short-term contract for 3 months. I was the first time in Bangladesh. I had to know every player from scratch. I had no previous experience with them, so I had to use all the time available to work with them. And that's also the reason I requested for Tito as my assistant coach, a very experienced coach, both on club level and national team level, and he could help me in that. Then when some players dropped out because of army obligations to play with the army team, yeah, it didn't help us in the preparation. But after that friendly against Maldives, we had the qualification against Bhutan. On paper, I think everyone expected us to win against Bhutan
Yes.
in an easy way. And the first game in Dhaka, we played very good. I remember that we had about 23 chances. We had a lot of opportunities to score the goal. It was very bad weather. It was raining very hard,
Yes, yes, yes.
but the team was fighting very well. We had a very young team. We had a lot of young players. I think about Rubel Mia, about Abdullah, about Jafar Iqbal. A lot of young players who came up, but who played very good for the team. And the first game in Dhaka, we deserved a clear win. The team played well. Bhutan was not special, but we couldn't finish and we couldn't score. And if you can't score, you can't win. Then the second return match, we had to go to Bhutan, what is not an easy trip because of the altitude.
Yes, very
And
high altitude. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
the
very
high
high.
altitude. We were sitting in a good hotel. Everything was good organized. No complaints about that. And we did not play that bad, but sadly enough, one of my major players, a fantastic guy, a fantastic goalkeeper, he had a bad day. I think everyone remember that Rana made two mistakes in that game. And he apologized after the game. He was sitting near me on my side in the plane when we returned, and he was crying. And this happens. This happens with goalkeepers from Liverpool. This happens on every level. De Gea, Karius, every goalkeeper can make mistakes. It happened that day with Rana, and it was sad because we lost 3-1. It was a shock defeat, not only for Bangladesh, not only for the federation, but also for myself. And it was a huge disappointment. And as I said, we had agreed only a 3-month contract, because after that there would be no games. And after I left, Bangladesh stayed 7 months without a new coach. Only seven
Yes,
months
yes,
later,
yes,
Andrew Ort came. So,
yes,
but
yes.
that was agreed. It was a disappointment results. But to be honest, I loved working in Bangladesh. I had a very good relationship with the players, with the federation, and with everyone. So
Yes, yes, I covered that match. I covered that match. I went to Thimphu. I was there also. But as it really little bit also misluck also because that match Bangladesh got also the opportunity to equalize the score line again, but there's some finishing problem also on there.
that
However,
that's
do you think that yeah, that's
yeah
true. That's also true. Yeah,
yeah,
that's also
that's
true.
that's true. If it was when it was 2-1 for Bhutan, I remember that we
Yes,
had big opportunities to score 2-2,
equalize.
and a 2-2 result
Yes,
would
yes.
be qualification
We will
for
go.
us.
We will qualify because the air goal
Exactly.
advantage. Air goal
Yes,
advantage.
exactly.
Yeah, yes, yes. So after that, Bangladesh football was stuck by many difficulties, and you know, Bangladesh people all love football also. But after that result, Bangladesh football supporters were criticized more about Bangladesh football players and football federation officials. What do you think about that culture?
Oh, I think it's almost everywhere in the world like that. If results are disappointing, the coaches, the players, the federation, or the club owners, they get criticized. It's normal, and it's I respect that. I mean, the fans have the right to say their thoughts, to have their opinion, and for sure, if you fail, then you have to accept criticism. For me, I had very good relationship with the president, Mr. Saluddin. He is a very nice, intelligent man. He was very cooperative in everything I did. So I have no complaints about the Bangladesh Federation. They did what was possible. Naturally, like I said before, I wished I had Titu as assistant coach. I don't know why that didn't happen, and I was not so happy when some players had to play for the army team. But in general, I was very satisfied in the cooperation with the Bangladesh Football Federation, and also with the players. But if the result is not what people expect, criticism comes, and everyone, journalists, fans, they have the right to criticize. So I fully understand that. On the other side, they have to understand that presidents, boards, coaches, and players, they have to execute it. And sometimes it's easier to talk after a match when something went wrong than before a game. When I have to look back to my time in Bangladesh, I admit I made also some mistakes. Afterwards, I think it was wrong not to choose Jamal Bujang in the midfield, a very experienced player who is currently performing very good
Yes,
for the
yes,
national team. So
yes, yes,
and that was my mistake. So I think everyone make mistakes. Sometimes you make a mistake and you still win the game. Sometimes you make a mistake and you can lose the match.
yes,
So
yes,
we have to learn out of that. But I think it's not fair to point
yes,
at,
yes,
at,
yes,
at the federation president or board. I think everyone tried to do
yes, yes.
their best, and
Yes,
afterwards,
I wanted to come the Jamal Bhuiya point also because when you leave Bangladesh team with the Bhutan contingent, then one journalist questioned you, why didn't you pick up Jamal Bhuiya for this team? You clarified that Jamal Bhuiya's
yeah,
position and yes,
he arrived. I was, I think, end July, beginning August. I was in the first time in Bangladesh, and we were training together with Titu. We had a lot of young players, and Jamal. When I remember, I'm not 100% right. Arrived quite late. I saw him, I think, only in August. Couldn't have a chance to train a lot with him, and I was satisfied with the players who were there. I had a midfield with a lot of young players. I felt confident in that, and yeah, also we had a lot of midfield players. I think about Abdullah. I think about Mamunul Islam, a few other players. So I decided to keep Jamal out because I didn't have the opportunity to see him in training. I didn't have the opportunity to try him out. So I dropped him, and afterwards I have to admit it was a mistake of me.
yes. Yes. Player can mistake, coaches can also mistake. It's a part of game also, part of strategy also. However, what do you think actually was the Bangladesh football lackings overall? The structural, the organizational, or the how can Bangladesh football develop? What's your advice?
So I think in the region Bangladesh football is not that bad. I mean, you don't have really major countries. India, the big neighbor, have naturally currently a lot of budgets with their Super League players, coaches get huge amounts of money paid. On the other side, the performances are not really better than Bangladesh football. So development of football takes a long period. You need a little bit luck of generations. I mean, I come from Belgium. We have 11 million people currently. We have a fantastic team. We are number one on the FIFA ranking with Hazard, Lukaku, Fellaini, all the big stars. But that's naturally a generation. 10, 15 years ago, Belgium didn't have these players and didn't qualify for World Cup. Also, Bangladesh had moments of generations that they had better players, and it go up and down. I think the league is quite good. It's quite professional. Club coaches, clubs are performing and developing quite well, and that's very positive. I see a lot of young talent coming up, and I think people have to have confidence that Bangladesh is going in the right direction, and they need a little bit luck to have the right talent born. What will choose also for football? We know also that cricket is a big sport in Bangladesh, where a lot of athletes will go for because it's also financially very attractive. But football is developing in the right way, and it's a very competitive sport. But I think Bangladesh is doing well, step by step getting better. And also with the setup, I see now the current situation where there's a full professional first team setup with a lot of international assistant coaches, physiotherapists, goalkeeper coaches, technical director Paul Smalley is back. So it's very positive. They work very good. I think BFF is doing a great job, and I think people have to support federation. I'm sure they go on the right track, but naturally you need also a little bit luck in results. I experienced it with a little bit luck. We would have qualified against Bhutan for sure in the first game, and that's for every coach and every match. Sometimes you need luck. If you lose 1-0 from Afghanistan, maybe you could have also played to draw or a win, and this is part of football.
Yes, it's true. It's also true. So luck is very important for football, especially. So, Tom, say something about your current position.
Yeah, I'm at the moment since July 2018 national team coach of the Gambia. Gambia is the smallest African country on the mainland. It's smaller than Lesotho. It's smaller than Eswatini, former Swaziland. They live about 2 million people. But it's a big football-loving country. Small country, like I said, 2 million people. When I arrived in July 2018, they did not win for 5 years a competitive match and never won in history a competitive away match. They were 172 on the FIFA ranking, a little bit similar with Bangladesh. And now 2 years later, we improved a lot. We are 159 on the FIFA ranking. We won at home against Benin, a qualification game. We won away qualification game against Angola. We beat Morocco, who was on the World Cup in Morocco, 0-1. We won against Guinea-Conakry, a big country. We played twice a draw against African champion Algeria in competitive games. And about 17 young players made their debut in the national team. I have to say that I had at this moment of time, all my players play in Europe. Gambia has about 70 players playing in European football, and my best players perform for Atalanta Bergamo, Sampdoria, 2 players in Bologna, FC Zurich, Hajduk Split, Anderlecht. So all play for good European teams, and it's really going well. At the moment, we are leading our group. We are 159 in the FIFA ranking, and we are ahead in our qualification group, ahead of Gabon, with Aubameyang, for the people know. Gabon is at the moment 83 on the world ranking, ahead of DR Congo, who is 54 on the FIFA ranking, so a very strong country, and ahead of Angola, who is 120 on the ranking. So we are the smallest in the group, but we are leading our qualification group. So it's going very well. I'm very have a federation who support me also very good, good coaching staff and fantastic players. So I enjoy really my work currently.
Yes, I covered Russia World Cup, and I covered the match also against Brazil and Belgium also. The Belgium dominated the match. Finally, Belgium won the quarterfinal against Brazil, and they qualified for semi-final. Say something about the Belgium football development and Belgium football structure also.
Yeah, Belgium, like I already addressed, it's a small football nation of small nation, only 11 million people. If you look, Holland has 17, 18 million, Germany has 80 million, France has 60 million people. So we are really a small country, but we have quite good record of national team football. We played 16 World Cups, and in the 80s, 82 we beat Argentina. We reached second round. 86 we were even fourth on the world. 1990 second round, 2002 second round of 1994 second round, 1998 first round, and 2002 second round. We lost against Brazil, and then there was a period that Belgium didn't qualify anymore for the World Cup. 2006 we were not there, 2010 we were not there, and that moment was used by the federation to develop a new coaching system and a new youth development system. A lot of young players, a lot of investment was done in getting qualified coaches with B license, A license, pro license, and a lot of we have about 3,000 football clubs in Belgium. Every club has their own infrastructure, but every club has also their own youth development, and every club needs qualified coaches. Even an amateur club in Belgium needs UEFA A license, UEFA B license coaches in the youth development. And this resulted in developing the players like Hazard, Lukaku, Fellaini, De Bruyne, Company. All these players are developed because of a good structure, good coach education, good license system where you demand good youth development of the clubs. And since 2014, we are back on the highest platform. World Cup in Brazil, 2018 World Cup in Russia. And I think we are now for 2 years leading the FIFA ranking. Everyone in Belgium was a little bit disappointed that we were kicked out in the semi-final in Russia against France after winning against Japan and Brazil because we had a team to become world champion. But again, if you want to achieve this, there are a few factors who are important. You need a generation, you need a little bit luck of players who are born with the qualities. You don't have always control over that, but you need also good coach education. You need good youth development to develop these players. But maybe in a few years' time, Belgium has with the same development, not the same quality players. You see it to Holland. Holland had a fantastic period in the 80s, also in the
Yes,
90s.
yes.
Then in beginning 2000, they dropped a little bit. Now they are coming back. Germany, they had a fantastic period. They dropped a little bit. So it goes with curves, with waves. You need the right generation, but you have to invest in development both on federation and on club level.
Yes. One of the football supporters, Mr. Ali Imran Faisal, questioned you. What do you think about Bangladesh football future?
Yeah, for me,
How far?
Bangladesh is a fantastic country. You have about 160 million people living there. People love football. When I was there, I watched a lot of games. I was in different cities, always in the stadium. The atmosphere in the stadium was fantastic. People love football. The next step is that the clubs take the responsibility to start developing players. At the moment, in many development countries, the people look to the federation to develop quality players. But in Europe, in Germany, in Denmark, in Holland, in France, in Belgium, in England, in Spain, in Italy, the players are developed by the clubs. We have 3,000 clubs, as I said, who have all their own youth development from 5, 6 years old kids who get qualified coaches to train them. If now in the future, the big clubs in Bangladeshi football can start with a good youth development, an under 12, an under 14, an under 16, an under 18, step by step. Invest also money in that because now you get foreign coaches. A few Gambian players play in Bangladesh. You have Nigerian players. Even a friend of me, Edgar Bernard, play in Bangladesh. I brought him in Holland in a professional club. We worked together in the past. You spend a lot of money on this, but if the federation can get it so far that the clubs start developing their own youth academy, I believe that Bangladesh has a very bright future. You have a huge population. You have a lot of players who are motivated. You have a lot of skillful players, but you don't have yet the development structures as many European countries have. So if you can achieve that with good infrastructure, good qualified youth coaches, and a real development program on club level, not only focusing at BFF, but really every club in every region, professional and amateur clubs in every region, starting youth academies, then I believe that Bangladesh can in the future achieve really things what now maybe Malaysia is already, and even higher than that. Don't forget that Japan, that Korea, in the 80s, Japan and Korea were not big football nations in the world.
Yes.
They developed football step by step, and now they are major football countries. We know they are always at the World Cup. Japan can reach quarterfinal. Korea can even have reached semi-final in the World Cup. So this took 10 to 20 years development before they were there. Bangladesh can achieve similar things, qualify for Asian Championship, but it takes a long development program, and the responsibility is not only by BFF, but the responsibility is also on club level.
Clubs.
Yes,
Yes.
because in Europe, the players are not developed by the Belgian Federation. The players are not developed by the Dutch. They are developed by the clubs. The Belgian Federation provides the courses, the know-how to develop coaches, to how to organize clubs. But it are the clubs who have to develop the players.
Thanks, Tom, for your nice time and observations regarding Bangladesh football and world football. Thank you very much for giving us very well time. Hope we will meet again.
It was a pleasure. My regards to everyone in Bangladesh, and really hope to meet again. And good luck in the coming qualifications.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
দর্শক প্রিয়, আপনারা আশা করি উপভোগ করলেন বাংলাদেশ সাবেক ফুটবল কোচ টম সেন্ট্রিনের সাথে আলোচনা। আমরা আবার হাজির হব অন্য একটা বিষয় নিয়ে সামনে। ততক্ষণ পর্যন্ত এজেন্ট এরেনার সাথে থাকুন।